This episode of The Room is brought to you by Everybody Loves Tiger. If you want comfortable, stylish apparel with a purpose, this is the place for you. Follow Everybody Loves Tiger on Instagram for updates on all future exclusive drops. In a hectic world like today, don't forget, make sure you love yourself first.
What's going on? What's going on, YouTube? Hopefully the lighting is a little all right. I was going for a little, mood type thing, but it's the daytime, so probably not working right. But hopefully y'all can still see me, man. What's going on? I go by the name of Desmond Bonet. This is the official first episode of The Room. Having a healthy mind is priority. Now, without talking too much and dragging this longer than it's supposed to be. The room is very, very simple, man. This is an open place for conversation, for questions, and most importantly, for work and for progress. Now, the reason why I say that is because, just the underlying title, where having a healthy mind is priority. It's a reason why, this particular phrase is always said in threes: mind, body, and soul. Anything that has to do with that is always said in threes: mind, body, and soul. The mind is healthy, the body is healthy, the soul is going to flourish just because of, how healthy you are. Now, a healthy mind. When it comes to just mental health, there's always a negative, there's always just a negative tone attached to it. You're crazy, you have issues, you're off, you're retarded, just all of these things. And I'm here to kind of, not necessarily change the narrative, because mental health is just it's a big thing. It's very much broader than me being able to speak on it from my personal experience, but specifically with the mind. Now, the same way you go to the gym, you want to lose weight, you want to get in shape, you do the necessary work. Diet, you don't eat, or you do eat what you're supposed to, you do the work. When you have an injury and the process that it takes to get back to, being 100%, that middle process is rehabilitation. You have to do the work, whether it's your arms, your fingers, your legs, your feet. You got to get the motion back. You got to work very hard to get back to where you once were. And it's the same thing with the mind. Some people are more overweight than others. Some people are more fit than others. Some people might be a little more intellectual than others. That's really all it is. That's as simple as I can put it. That's really all it is. Some people just have a healthier mind than you do. And that's what I'm here to, kind of try to break down to the best of my ability, and also help whoever's watching and hope whoever decides to, sit across from me to have these deep conversations when it comes to having a healthy mind, In my personal opinion, and now, we can move on to the actual title of this episode, besides it being the introduction: Are you healing? Perfect transition into Are you healing? One of the key things to having a healthy mind is really knowing exactly what parts are making it unhealthy or giving you a unbalance, so to speak. I'm gonna use my personal experience. Just growing up in the environment I grew up in, growing up, around just where I grew up at. A lot of alcoholism, just a lot of alcoholism. Now, I know alcohol is it's a normal thing. People go out, they drink, they have fun, etc., etc. It's nothing too crazy. My personal experiences with alcohol, mainly just viewing and being in the presence of someone who's, a little intoxicated, under the influence. I've never really seen a positive part of that aspect, reaction, whatever. I do not really have a positive view on it. Everything I've seen has always been a negative thing, whether it's a temper attack or anger or whatever fueled by alcohol, or certain emotions, people becoming super emotional fueled by alcohol, wanting to fight, just all the typical things that really happens with alcohol, and just over times how it, it could really, really change a person and really, really have a person deteriorate right in front of you. Now, are you healing? The reason why specifically on that is because I don't drink. I don't, I just something that I don't do. And growing up, you think if you don't do something that you kind of witness a lot of people doing, that'd be your reason to not be like them, so to speak. But one thing that people tend to forget about is your environment and being a product of your environment. It's not only that doesn't only pertain to the neighborhood, It doesn't only pertain to certain parts of your surroundings. It's also a lot to do with your upbringing, your household, and what you witness, what you see, and what you around for most of the days of your life. And when you're around certain things, even though you're not participating in the actual act, I never picked up a cup and actually drunk and got drunk. But when you're around it for so long, in a sense, you inherit the characteristics. So I found myself just having just major anger problems, getting stressed very fast. I'm usually a calm, laid back, quiet guy, and I just wasn't being that. I wasn't being consistent with who I am, so to speak. And it took for me to get tired of feeling that way. It's an exhausting feeling, being angry and just being mad and being stressed and kind of just dealing with everything. So, I sat down and really analyzed, studied myself properly, and really just did what I needed to do to get over certain things, which brings me to healing. Like I said, I don't drink, so it was never really a thought in my head that I would have to, heal from that, so to speak. And even though it's not really from that, like I said, when you're around it and you think that you're moving far away from it, sometimes we can be moving closer to something than we actually think. My whole life I worked so hard to just, stand on certain things. But because you're so conscious of it, you don't even realize that subconsciously some of the characteristics and just your actions are actually bringing you closer to whatever it is you're trying to run away from. So it's very, very important to just sit down with yourself, ask real questions, and don't be afraid to dive in and figure out whatever it is you need to figure out. Because at the end of the day, that's all it really starts with. If you don't know something, you ask a question. And then from a question, it'll lead to a conversation. And depending on how, deep the dive is, research, whatever it is, you'll gain more knowledge. You'll be able to be more knowledgeable than you were at the start of the journey. So it really comes down to just having that real conversation, having those tough conversations, asking yourself tough questions, and willing to do the work to get through it, get past it, learn from it, and be better from it. Are you healing? There's a lot of things going on in this world right now. From people being killed to women being raped, and even to, the relationship things. I know what I started off with was a little extreme, but these are just real things that affect people's mind every day. People go through traumatic experiences every single day. PTSD is normally attached to veterans, anybody in that life, army life, serve the country, et cetera, et cetera. But growing up in certain environments, you witness a lot of the things that, people in war witness. Bodies dropping, overdose, whatever it is. It's an overload. It's a crazy amount of just negative on top of negative on top of negative. We don't never really get that excuse of, damn, you done been through so much. I could understand. So it goes back to that question. Are you healing? And do you know what you need to heal from? Nobody's ever too tough or ever too gangster to sit down and figure out what's going on with them. If you're not taking care of you, which should be the most important person to you. Because if you're not 100%, then there's no way you can help anyone else be 100%. So it all starts with taking care of you. And that's what I'm here for, man. So hopefully y'all continue to tune in and ride with me through this journey. Right now, it'll be some episodes like this, me sitting down and just having open conversations based around having a healthy mind and what can be done. Some episodes will be me sitting down with somebody and having a quote-unquote therapy session to where, the viewers, you learn more about the individual. I'll definitely learn more about the individual, and it'll be real conversations with real people. And that's my goal here, man. Everybody deserves to have a healthy mind. Some people just need, a little push into the right direction. That's all it is. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this, man. This was the official first episode. I try my best to keep these episodes coming every single week. Like I said, some episodes will be, therapy sessions. So I do have those coming very, very soon. I go by the name of Desmond Bonet. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I appreciate you guys for stepping in the room. Where having a healthy mind is priority. Let's all heal. Let's all do the work.